This is probably the most important video I'm ever gonna make.
Your words work their way through me like water.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. And for all of you new mamas out there, congratulations for your little baby and for what your amazing body just went through. Let's give it a hand. If you clicked on this video, these are 5 things that you need to know about your breastfeeding journey in order to make it a successful one. I did it both ways. With my first baby, I really struggled with breastfeeding and then full-time pumping so that she can have her bottles and her full meals and whatever. And it was like, just even talking about that, it's just bringing back PTSD. It was a nightmare. It was so hard. And if you're an exclusively pumping mama right now, or you're thinking about becoming one, it is a daunting task. I did it for over a year, like 15 months, and it was just really hard, mentally, for sure, physically. It makes your journey a lot more of a struggle. With my second baby, I was able to do breastfeeding, just breastfeeding. Right now, we're gonna dive right into the reason number 1 of what you should know. And I didn't know this, and I wish somebody would have told me this, because I think I would have approached it differently. I wouldn't have struggled so much. Obviously, especially if it's your first baby, your milk is not going to be robust. It's not going to come in just like you had the baby and then boom, like waterfalls from both sides or the milk are going to come out. It's just not like that. It takes time to build and to process. About a full week, like I mean a full 7 days, which is why within that first week of life, those newborns tend to lose a lot of weight, sometimes even down to the 10% mark of their birth weights, which is where my daughter was, and that's why I chose to start exclusively pumping, because I was so worried about her weight loss. But it is absolutely normal for them to lose weight within that first week. Your doctor will tell you this, your lactation consultant will tell you this. So don't lose faith in your body and in your milk supply just based on not getting that milk right off the bat. Your milk supply is still trying to get established. Your body's still trying to figure out how to even make milk, you know? So it's taking a lot, you know, and this is all while your body's also healing. It's just a lot. So give yourself patience. The milk will come. It comes with demand. So always be putting that baby on your breast. If you have a sleepy baby that tends to just suckle a couple of times and fall asleep, there are techniques to like keep them awake by like tickling their foot or tickling like the bottom of their neck area. I would always give a couple of boops to my baby to try to wake him up, and then try to make sure that he stays engaged. I talk and I giggle and I make eye contact and I'm really animated. You know, you've got to remember, like, it is a very soothing, relaxing, absolutely normal thing for the baby to want to fall asleep at the breast, but it really does like interfere with breastfeeding and being able to get like a full meal out of you when they're falling asleep. So keeping your baby awake, put them on the breast on demand. Don't even go by that every 2 to 3 hour mark. I was always so focused on numbers. I was very type A when I had my daughter. I was like, if I do everything by the book, like it's just, there's no way to fail at this, right? And really none of us moms know what the heck we're doing in the beginning, and you're gonna feel lost, and it's okay. But you have to just keep putting the baby at the breast. Putting the baby at the breast. Lots of skin to skin, lots of emptying. Make sure you hear the little from the newborn when they're chugging. You can definitely notice it. My little boy would make like the cutest little sound, and it was just so cute, and that's when you knew that there was like a letdown happening. Don't get discouraged if even while the baby's at the breast nothing is coming out, or you think nothing is coming out. Even with the stimulation of the nipple tissue, it will make your body make milk. It will start sending signals to start producing more and more milk. At first you make not enough milk, then you make too much, and then your body regulates and you make just enough. Let's go right into that second factor, which is kind of leading into it, is don't pump. Your baby is your pump, especially those first couple of weeks. Don't pump. My lactation consultant was also super adamant about this with me. She was like, don't pump. If you can't, if you don't need to, don't do it. With my first, nobody told me that. They were actually putting me at the pump from the second that I had her, you know, to try to stimulate milk, and like nothing was coming out, like not even 5 mLs. It was crazy. It was like 2 drops, and that's what they would like rub on her gums, and like, it was so sad, so stressful. And I didn't know that from pumping, it stretches your nipple. And especially if it's your baby number 1, it is gonna do so in a way that your body is not used to doing, and it is going to hurt. The pumping itself may not hurt, but it will hurt afterwards. And for me, at least, what was happening is that with the constant pumping, because I kind of right off the bat was just pumping and trying to breastfeed, it would change my nipple size, and it would make it very sensitive to where when my baby would get on me, it was already so sore. So I was like flinching and like reluctant to try to breastfeed her because I was like in so much pain and it was hurting, and everyone just would be like, oh, it hurts at the beginning, but then it'll not hurt as bad. Like, now that I know what it's supposed to feel like the way that it's been with my son, it hurts with the initial latch, but then while they're breastfeeding, it's not supposed to hurt. And with my daughter, it always hurt. Nobody would believe me. Oh, maybe you just don't have like a good pain tolerance. I'm like, excuse me? It's like, I understand what, you know, it's that there's supposed to be some pain, but this is like pain all the time. It feels like pricks and needles. And that didn't seem normal to me, but everyone just kept saying, it'll go away, it'll go away, it'll go away. And it just never did. So just to give you guys an example, I was told by Lactation to go up in flange size, that maybe that was the issue. Finally, we found the right flange size. I went from a 30 flange size, meaning that the length and the width of the nipple would have to not be touching all sides. Like, this was where my nipple was like the safest. Like, it was like actually pulling milk. It was not hurting, right? From this to a 27. Let's see if it'll... So a 27 hole, let's just put the 2 up so you can see like the whole difference. And there's also a difference in the depth of the tube. So one nipple was this, the other one was this, strangely enough. And then now that I'm like only breastfeeding my son and not exclusively pumping, I'm at a 24, which is what your basic Medela or whatever, like Spectra, if you have that, this is what they come with originally. And like the whole difference is, I don't think this is doing it justice. It's quite large though. Like, this will fit into this, and then this will fit into this. And then there's no way that like this one and this one are like the same, you know, like there is a gap of difference right there. So long story short, it changed my nipple size from like how much it was actually pulling to where when my daughter, who's a newborn tiny little mouth trying to get around a ginormous, inflamed, very sensitive nipple, was just not working, you know. So that was excruciating and a bit of the issue, and which is why I didn't do that with my son. I don't even think I brought out the pump for like months. Like well into the 5th month, 6th month, something crazy like that. I never pumped, and it kept my nipple small, and I just thought I had large nipples. I was like, well, that's why when it pumped it would hurt, because I was using the wrong flange size. And it was like, no, the pump was making the nipple inflamed and larger, and that's what was causing all the issues. But I didn't know that. No one told me. The point is, pumping will change the size of your nipple, especially if it's your first time. It won't be uncomfortable, and if you're trying to still do breastfeeding, it will make your breastfeeding journey a lot harder. I stopped pretty much trying at the 6th week mark and just went straight to exclusively pumping because it was just too excruciating. She was never really staying on, and I just couldn't do it. I hated it. It was horrible, and it was really making me depressed. It was making me really anxious and depressed every time I had to think about it. Whereas pumping, it was like I could just pump you over with it and then just move on with my day. So that's my suggestion number 2, is to not pump right away. Now my 3rd suggestion, and you're gonna be like, wait a minute, isn't that like contradictory? Now we're just saying words.
2,000 years later.
Using a HAAKA each and every time on the other breast where the baby is not nursing. Now, I know that this is counterintuitive. Oh my gosh, why do I keep wanting to say that word? I know this is the opposite of what I had just previously said about not pumping, but it's different. You are allowing your letdown from one side to be emptied, and with the pressure of the HAAKA, it does not hurt, and it shouldn't hurt if you're using it correctly. And it just collects extra milk that you can either freeze, or if your baby is of age and is now eating solids, you can mix it into the solids. Or if you have another toddler and you want to be giving that baby also your antibodies and awesome nutrients from your breast milk, you could do that too, which is what I do. And it's just awesome all the way around. And also, using a HAAKA will keep your breast milk supply high. The demand will always be high. Like, your body will always be producing enough for this baby and whatever the HAAKA is collecting at all times, so that when there are dips and when there are like issues like illness, teething, sleep regressions, reverse cycling, you start your menstrual cycle. All these things can cause dips in your supply, or the baby to not want to be on the breast, which will dip your supply. And that extra HAAKA milk that you're always collecting is going to be kind of like your safety cushion. Your body will be producing less, but it'll still be enough for your baby's needs because of it so being used to always supplying for the HAAKA. I thought that once you're in breastfeeding land, like, it's just always going to be amazing and there's not going to be any issues. And I have come a couple of hurdles since then to where my milk supply has dipped drastically. One time I almost lost it completely. I had to rebound my milk supply. And if you want to know about tips and tricks on how to gain your milk supply back, just let me know in the comments. I can always make a video about that in case you're wondering. Use a HAAKA. It's great. The next suggestion that I'm going to give is going to be kind of like hippie-ish and whatever. This is just the truth. I am not using a bra right now. Don't use a bra if you can help it, if you're just at home. I think I hear my little one waking up, so I got to make this quick. But when you don't use a bra, you're just allowing your breasts, especially in those first couple of weeks when you get engorged, you're allowing your breasts to make the milk. You're not constricting any milk ducts here or there by using a tight restrictive bra, which by the way, your previous bras won't even fit you anymore. So don't use them. If you're walking around the house, just free them up, girl. Just free them up. Let them breathe. My next tip will be to always nurse on both sides. I asked Lactation if I can just do one side versus the other. Like I said, I'm very type A, and I would always forget which side I would leave off on to start with the next one. And Lactation said, yeah, sure, you could always just breastfeed one session on one boob, and then the next session only do the next boob, and your breast milk supply will, you know, kind of like, it'll know which one to fill up next. But oh my gosh, my baby's like really crying and my husband's like not around. He can help her. Okay, let me go get her. So many interruptions. Sorry. So what was I saying? Oh yes, always just feed on both sides. Like, it's better to, when you're emptying both sides, and especially if you're using a HAAKA, that your baby is getting that hind milk. So your HAAKA is going to be releasing your fore milk, which is usually really watery, a lot more volume. But then what's left in the back is the hind milk. Hey honey, you wanna come in the film? You can. You can come over here if you want to. Then what's left in the back is the hind milk. And the hind milk has all the fattiness and dense nutrients, and it's just like the really, really rich milk. And then my very last tip to you is prepare for those dips. Just because you're having an awesome breastfeeding supply that's like robust and you're like, I have tons of milk, like we could just, oh, I left that out for 5 hours, let's throw it out, it's fine. Like, I make lots of milk, so it's always gonna be that way. It is not. There will be dips. Your menstrual cycle will return eventually, and when it does, some women don't see a notice in their milk supply at all. Others do notice it. There is a huge dip, at least there was for me, and my baby didn't want to nurse. He did not like either the flavor or the letdown. Daddy? Yeah, Daddy is over there. Yeah, he's over there with brother. Yeah, I'll go take you to him in a minute, okay? Just hold on. Your milk supply isn't always gonna be amazing. Like, I was banking on that. I thought like once we made it past the 2 weeks and I was like in breastfeeding land, I was like, I can go like dancing in the sunset. We did it. We're a breastfeeding mama and baby. And it's like every day is a blessing. Yeah, baby, hold on, okay? Every day I don't take advantage of it because it can go at any moment. Just like when I hit I think it was the 4-month mark, and my baby started reverse cycling and trying to get all of his nutritional needs met at night and then not drinking during the day. And then I started trying to switch it, meaning not feeding him at night. What, baby? Huh? Cookie? What did you say? Okay, just to finish that last point, your milk supply isn't always gonna be amazing, and you want to prepare for those dips by either having stocked up milk and either bottle feeding if that's the way you wanna go, or if you're too worried about bottle feeding and then your baby not wanting to nurse anymore, then you can always just boost up their foods if they're in solid land yet, or now. Honey, okay. And those dips, right? They're gonna happen. It's natural. Sometimes it's you're sick and, you know, and then your body's not producing enough because it's using a lot of energy to try to get you better. Sometimes, I mean, who knows? There could be stress. reverse cycling was like a huge hurdle. Like I said, it killed my supply, and I was like dying on the inside. My heart was broken. I felt like our journey was over. It was coming to an end. And I brought that milk supply back, baby. There is a way to bring it back. And it kind of changed my mindset about this journey as for not taking it for granted. So if you are out there, mama, and you're trying to get establish a good breastfeeding journey, I hope that some of these tips and tricks helped you. What are you showing? These are my SD cards. Honey, those are very important. Let me see them. Where'd you put them? Let me see them. Let me see. Thank you. So I hope that some of these tips and tricks were helpful to you, and that you're able to to get through those first couple of weeks, mama, because the first 6 weeks are the most important weeks for establishing your breast milk supply. And once it's established, it's pretty freaking solidly established. I'm getting re-dolled up here, so I better go. But thank you guys for sticking around. If you want to see more content about motherhood, the newborn phase, the toddler phase, and anything else that involves mothering, please think about subscribing to my channel. It'll make my day, and I have a lot of tips and tricks for you, so things that might be able to help you out. So I hope to see you guys in the future, and yeah, good day.
Glue all the pieces back together. Yeah, you take all my wrongs and make them better.